Hi and welcome back to During the Lockdown. Again, it's been a couple of weeks. As I'm sure I said last time, terribly sorry. Very busy with work and other bits and pieces. This will be most likely, hopefully, will be the last of the During the Lockdown shows that I've been doing. As I'm sure everybody is aware, it does feel more like the lockdown is pretty much gone. Which is possibly not the best idea, but just a quick shout out to everyone out there who are still observing lockdown conditions. Good on you, keeping everybody safe, and in fact, let's face it, you guys deserve a round of applause, certainly more so than the bankers do. So in this show, we're going to be sharing another video. This one is an earlier video. It's technically not a Xadrum production. It was my directorial debut. It was a short film that I wrote in 2014. But some of the material in the film itself and the idea behind the film and why I wrote it are kind of like the prerequisite, if you like, for creating the company, due to events that happened shortly after I wrote the film and before we got a chance to film it. I'm not going to say much more than that because I know some of the things that some of the themes that are brought up in the film are touched on in the Billion Bytes documentary. So if you've been following us on other social media sites, on Instagram, on Twitter in particular, you'll see I've been discussing quite a bit about my second book, Portals, which is now complete. Yay! With the exception of the artwork, which is being done by Ben Cater, who's an old friend who I used to work with with the council, and a very talented artist. In fact, you can see some of his work because he did the posters for Mourning's Landing, which is the short film I'm going to be sharing. Very nice. Didn't win anything, but I wasn't looking to win anything with it. I just wanted to see how people received it, and just the fact that it was considered good enough to be shown in a film festival, in 2 film festivals, in fact, that was enough. You know, that's all it needed to do. Portals is now done, so it's just the artwork needs to be done, and then it'll be the fun part of getting the funding together to send it off to the printers. At the same time, I'm coming to the end of my first kind of full edit for the second of my grandfather's novels, which is called The Evil Cross, which was released. So it's another story that's set entirely during the Second World War. Again, as other people have commented, and I'm sure I might have mentioned myself, so it still carries that interesting angle on it because these were all written against the backdrop of World War II by a writer at the time who had no idea how the war was going to turn out, which always adds an interesting angle to think about the stories from when you're reading them. This one as well I find it one of his most interesting works because the entire story is set in a small German village, and kind of follows how the villagers who have been kind of co-opted into being an unwitting party to the Nazi war machine, and how they cope with having their lives disrupted by living essentially under martial law, with the town being overseen by the Gestapo. Which again I find fascinating for a British author in the early 40s to be writing about German people and the plight of German people under the Nazi regime. Mourning's Landing represents the last of the pre-existing content that I wanted to include on the channel because of its links and obviously the influence that it had on the creation of the company itself. So it feels like a nice way to bookend not only this particular series, but that recycled content, and everything from this point forward should be new and unique. With that in mind, some of you may notice some very strange things happening behind me. I have no idea what's going on. For a different show which we were hoping to shoot today, which has unfortunately had to be delayed because of unforeseen consequences, which is what the green screen was here for. As we've still got it, we thought, well, we may as well use it. And my friend Dean, who's doing a lot of the editing for these things, thank you, Dean, you're a star. I've given him carte blanche to let his imagination run wild and do whatever he wants with the screen. So there is possibly something very strange going on behind me, and this complete kind of innocence of what's going on is perfectly normal because I have no idea. So, just before we go into the film itself, into Mourning's Landing, as I said already, this is a film that we made in 2014. I wrote the piece end of April, beginning of May of the same year, and we shot it in August. Managed to shoot the whole thing in one sitting, as it were, which I'm sure you'll see and you'll understand when you actually watch it. So, I said, written by myself, I'm in it, and also made with some very good friends of mine, my friend Chris Smith, Andy Adam, Patrick Pilgrim, and also Jade Wallace, and was very lucky to have the help of a filmmaker friend of mine, Matty Trett, which was one of his first kind of solo films that he did after he finished college. So again, huge shout out to all of you. Thank you very much for the time and effort that you put into it, and your patience as well with me, with what was going on around about that time in my own life that kind of delayed things a bit. Aside from that, a lot of, I don't want to really say that much about the kind of the behind the scenes stuff, because I know some of that is touched upon in the documentary on Xadrum, Herododatum, which is being done by Billion Bytes, which also is in its closing stages. There's some music to be added to it, and we should be able to show you that again, hopefully within the next few weeks. Thank you very much for everyone who's taken the time to pop along, to have a look at these shows that I've been doing. If you do like what I'm doing here with these little just kind of info bursts and would like to see me do more, then please let me know in the comments, or visit us at Xadrum at www.xadrum.com and leave us a comment or leave us a message. Anyway, that's it for me for now. As always, stay safe and look after one another, and roll VT.
Hey, what up, Woomy? You've got the brine! It's dirty down there, you know. You get paint all over you.
It's well weathered. I'll be fine. What's Woomy?
I've decided that's what twins from the hood should call each other. What are you doing?
Reenacting my earliest memory.
Lying in filth?
No. I must have been a year old. Lying in my cot in my bedroom. Gazing out at a brilliantly blue summer sky. A blazing yellow glow just out of sight, and the breeze tickling my toes. Captivated by the grandeur of it all. Unfortunately, this wall is a little too high to accurately replicate.
And it's night.
Crepuscule.
Twilight?
Exactly. And wouldn't it be Womy, more like hey ese, hey homie?
Only if we're Hispanic. Brine?
Ah, thank you. I do have wine glasses.
Ah, how pretentious. Even the French would drink from these.
Yes, but they're tea light holders.
Not to us, they're not. Oh, that's the sound of the geese. Oh, that's the sound of the bees.
Oh, we're still in the hood then.
Mais oui, monsieur, and Bacosti.
Awesome, Guru Lanyard.
Eh?
It's like awesome, only with more bite. How's that working out for you?
Like taking a freshly shorn eunuch to a brothel.
Well, I have the real thing right here.
It's torture enough, emasculating myself with this thing. I'm weak, Henry. Don't dangle the baton in front of me.
How long now?
3 weeks, tomorrow.
Why? Your smoky treats miss you?
Well, one of us had to go first.
Saw a funeral procession parked out there the other day. 6 vehicles. 5 SUVs and the hearse was a Hummer.
Hummers are SUVs.
I was embellishing it for that, and the Hummer's the only one I could name. The others were sort of generic.
Well done. Please, continue.
There was an old woman, appropriately dressed. She was accepting condolences from a neighbour. Neither of them were black, though.
For real?
No, it was a dream. Seemed real enough. I was looking out of my bedroom window, but I was standing in the living room. I remember thinking, I wouldn't want my funeral procession starting here.
I dreamt of 3 astronauts bobbing up and down near some power lines in the country. It was windy. It reminded me of migrating ducks. How's London?
Oh, good, I suppose.
I don't know why you bother.
Too many bodies.
No. Too gentrified. Reinvigorated to better exploit the population.
It's a bit glib, isn't it?
Well, have you ever tried shopping in New London on a Saturday morning? Hunting for bread and milk under the mountains of hummus and Guardian weekend supplements, crammed with articles glorifying traumatised upper-class dysfunctional families? Hey, how are you? I'm around Henry's, why? What? In the supermarket car park? So what are you doing now? As long as you're having fun? No, I won't be too late. No, I won't drink too much. Or smoke too much. I'm not smoking, I told you I gave up. I'm just smoking these e-cigarettes. Okay. Yes? Yeah. Alright, bye. Delicious Beast sends her regards.
Oh, is she well?
Misanthropic.
Oh.
Someone shouted at her in the supermarket car park this evening. She's killing things online now.
Oh, that's good.
For me, yes. She's imagining everything she kills is you.
Me?
For asking me around here tonight when I should stay at home and share in her rage. Or perhaps you just inspire ire in women.
Thanks.
What good deed have I done now?
Reminded me of the desire to press something.
Eh?
The inside?
Ah, much overdue, I must say.
Thanks, Cole.
Don't call me Cor. Gives me the shudders. Makes me think the Reaper's coming for me next.
You can leave whenever you like when there is. It leaves more wine for me.
I won't have you drinking alone. Ah, talking of delicious beef. Of course, you shouldn't really torment cat beasts. Make love to them, you should. I'll keep my bestiality tips to myself then. Looks like the smirker lurkers have had enough for one night.
I thought we were the smirker lurkers.
Well, then they must be the drunker lunkers.
Kindred spirits then.
silly tart.
Yeah, mate, you tell her!
What was that, you wanker?
What the fuck?
No use hiding, you pussy, I saw ya.
It appears that you've abandoned your wine, Henry.
Oi, what about me?
Fuck off.
Such a knob sometimes.
We'd better go back inside. We'd better take the back door as well.
What about your wine?
Sod the wine, Cornelius.
Sod the wine? Papa Ambercosty will be spinning in his freshly turned grave. Condolences and sympathies are for the insincere. Are we going?
Did you see him?
Of course not, you bellend.
Oh,
Hey, you said you wanted to do Holly somewhere outside and soft. Yeah, but
you did remember to lock the front door?
You've done it, I'm gagging for a kebab.
are you not gagging for something else?
Fuck off, sick kids, both of you. And you, mister, you ain't getting nothing tonight.
I'll be switching.
Go on. You should look. It's your flat.
It's your fault.
Might be contaminated though.
I'll get a clean one.
Oh! And a fresh bottle,
Aha.
please. My irreverence has offended you?
I've come to expect nothing less.
That's not what I asked.
A justice column connuendo.
What?
Honesty before convention.
Delightful. Please continue.
With what?
Exposition.
I'm beginning to suspect affectation on your part.
You take that back or wear wine.
It's a waste of good wine.
Grief makes you tetchy
And wine makes you bullish.
and rampant.
Yes. Well, you should have stayed at home for that. I'm sure grief is quite the right word. I've been expecting my father to die for some time. Now that it's happened, it feels feels anticlimactic. There's a blessing in that somewhere, I suppose.
Amen. I am listening, Henry, but he was a bon vivant, and as such had to suffer the consequences.
Do bon vivants drink alone?
Well, if we're happy, of course we do.
No, navigate, that's not right. I can't juxtapose the man he'd become when he died with the echoes of his achievements.
Which includes you.
There's something else. Loss of self. It's purely illusionary, I know, and it's unsettling nonetheless. Lying in my cot, a year old. Out of an entire infancy, why can I only recall that one moment?
Be grateful. Most of us don't. I know I don't remember anything from that young.
Exactly, and yes, I am grateful, but well, think about it. Infancy. It's the overture of our lives, and yet it's only known to those who shared it with us, those witnesses who are old enough to understand what was going on. None more so than our parents, or those who brought us up anyway. I mean, photos and home movies, they can record the events, but it's what those people felt. That's what gives that time substance. With Dad gone, his memories of those times cease to exist. So that I feel diminished.
Bin bags. Well, bin liners to be precise.
What?
When you buy a roll of bin liners, you take them home, you rip off the paper band around them, you line your bin. What's the first thing you put in it? Yes?
Yeah, I get it.
Not a perfect metaphor, I admit.
But food for thought. And put a lot better than I ever could.
Well, that's why I'm your guru.
Oh, for a muse of fire.
No, stop, please,
What?
stop. Well, I can't take that speech seriously, and as you started in such earnest, I can't risk offending you when I start laughing.
Explain.
Well, all that stuff about dogs and swords.
Dogs and swords? You mean, then, should famine, sword and fire, lichten like hounds, crouch for employment?
See, it's hilarious. Hallmark for all pornography, you know. Come on. Smoky treat, please.
Ah, the baton is passed. And you're in luck. It's still early enough for a little touch of Harry in the night.
Stop to think what I was doing wrong or right. I don't give a damn about morals all along. My business is packet that my lawyer never saw. So why earn honest ways when you can earn a fortune robbing graves?